Hi, wrestling fans. Welcome back once again here to Off the Top Rope Radio, right here on good old KQCK Live, heard exclusively on KQCKlive.com. Sorry about the throat there. I'm just getting over the stupid-ass cold that I think about 18 million of us are sharing across the United States. But I'm going to try my best for the next 59 minutes or so to keep talking, bring you the greatest in professional wrestling. That is, of course, the greatest talk. All the greatest people involved in professional wrestling, and today is no exception. Leilani Kai, the great ladies champion of yesteryear, will be joining us and talking about her career and her new ventures. We're also going to be speaking with promoter and president of WOW Wrestling. That's right, Women of Wrestling. David McLane will be joining us here in just a few moments. Yeah, a little couple hand for those guys. And one of our great friends, a mainstay here at Off the Top Rope Radio, my buddy, my longtime friend, Mr. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will also join us. Yeah. I got a good audience today. I like that. Very nice. My name is Brian Schenk. Like I said, across the board, pushing all the buttons and making things happen on this fine day is, of course, Joe. It's the end of the world as we know it. Carrero, what's up?
You know, I did a little extra yelling at my dogs the last couple of days, and now my throat, I'm getting like a little laryngitis.
Yeah.
So.
It's better than yelling at your wife, like sometimes, you don't like to do that.
Who did I say I was yelling at?
The dogs?
The dogs.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, just making sure we can differentiate who you're yelling at. Today's a special day, Joe, with the exception of us both being kind of sick here. Today is 12/12/12, and for all those watching on the video feed right now, hopefully they can see, I am wearing my number 12 jersey because, of course, of Aaron Rodgers, my team's quarterback, and it is also Aaron Rodgers Day in Wisconsin, as far as I'm concerned, all over the world, because I'm celebrating it. So there's the 12 jersey right there. Go Pack. Beat the Bears this weekend, please. And if you're a Bears fan out there, we still love you.
Hey, is that the one you wanted, the TNA?
No.
I didn't think so.
WWE.
You know what? My mistake. Let me fix that for you.
We've got so many great talents that come on the show, it's hard to differentiate them
really
sometimes.
is.
Yeah, but like I said, we're going to have Leilani Kai, David McLane from WOW Wrestling. Women's wrestling is making a big comeback in a big way, and I can't wait to talk to Leilani and David about this. It should be very educational, and we're going to find out a few answers of where they went and what things have become and whatever else. But again, 12/12/12. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon here. Should be a heck of a show, and we're looking forward to bringing you more and more as we go on. We will have a show next week on the 19th. I'm not sure about the following week because the 26th, that's the day after Christmas. Probably not going to have one then just because of everything going on and whatnot. But for sure next week, and I'm still trying to talk to Joe off the air here about a very special in-studio guest that we would like to obviously get in here. And,
is that better?
Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah.
All right.
Both people were involved, of course, in WWE at the time, so we're going to do that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and give David a call there at his hotel room, the one at the top. They're staying in Los Angeles right now. They're going to be doing the show in Las Vegas, January the 19th. That's a Saturday night at the Cannery Casinos Casino. Well, actually, it's cannerycasinos.com, and it's the Cannery Casinos, the East Side Cannery Casino. And this should be a lot of fun because if you've watched back in the day like Glow Wrestling and even Women of Wrestling before, it's a really interesting breed because it's just basically all about professional wrestling in terms of women. And that's a really cool thing because these girls bust their ass to be where they are today. And obviously, they're going to do some really awesome things inside the ring. We've seen it. Some of the people involved like Roxy, Riot, Randy Rah-Rah, Patty Pep, Lana Starr, the world champion, Jungle Girl, Jade, Sandy and Sunny, the Beach Patrol, Caged Heat, the tag team champions. We're going to be discussing all that and much, much more with our first guest coming on the phone, president and promoter of WOW Wrestling, Mr. David McLane. But again, if you're anywhere near the Las Vegas area on Saturday, January the 19th, 2013, get on out there and check it out at the East Side Cannery Casino and Hotel. Saturday night, January the 19th, 7:30 p.m. And for more information, just go to either their Facebook page, Women of Wrestling, or you can go over to their actual website, which is WOWE.com, like Women of Wrestling Entertainment.com. So WOWE.com. It's got some really nice profiles on all the ladies who are involved in wrestling. Gives a little background on them, what they've done, where they hope to be inside WOW, and a little feedback on everything. There's some really cool video vignettes of Mr. David McLane talking about the business and showing exactly where they want to go. It's going to be a great program. I hope to be a part of it in Las Vegas on the 19th at the Eastside Cannery Hotel. So if you get a chance to go out there, Please check it out. Let us know you're going. We'd love to, have that. And if we can even give away a couple of tickets, if you can go, let us know. Just call us at, or give us an email, that is, at brian@KQCKlive.com, and we'll be happy to see if we can get you into the running for a couple of tickets for that show. We'll try our best. So if you want to go, if you can make it on the 19th, send me an email, Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKlive.com. Love to have you on the board there, and we can obviously have a good time with that. So I guess without further ado, we're going to be speaking to Mr. David McLane. He is the promoter and president of WOW Wrestling. WOW Wrestling, the Superheroes. This is going to be a fantastic event. Like I said, Saturday, January the 19th, 2013, 7:30 bell time, Eastside Cannery Casino and Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City will be on fire. And let's welcome Mr. David McLane, president and promoter of WOW Wrestling, to Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C. David, how you doing, sir?
Brian, great to hear you. Your voice, great to be a part of your great radio show. I know you go coast to coast and around the world, and we've been honored to be with you today. Now, is Joe also participating? Is he with us?
Yeah.
I am, but
Okay,
we get so many calls, Dave, that I'll be fielding calls for you, so we don't have to interrupt your conversation.
And as a matter of fact, while we're on that subject of phone calls, let's go ahead and let people know if they want to call in and get some questions, get some feedback, maybe make some comments about women of wrestling, maybe just even women wrestling in general. I mean, we'd love to have that. You can give us a call here on the studio lines, and Joel will be feeding those calls, and we'll kind of pass them on here and everything else to David McLane. You can do that by dialing 480-745-1033. Again, that phone number for Joe to be getting crazy with over there is 480-745-1033. So, David, like I said, a pleasure to have you here, and I know you've been very, very busy here lately. I've got a lot of questions, but kind of give us the rundown here. What can we expect Saturday, January the 19th, 2013 at the Eastside Cannery Casino and Hotel?
Well, I anticipate it's going to be a night of pandemonium.
Cool.
We're going to have upwards to 30 WOW performers.
Awesome.
Wrestling at the Eastside Cannery Casino and Hotel in Las Vegas. Tickets went on sale last Thursday. They're moving quite nicely for the city.
Excellent.
The classic WOW television shows, which were shot years ago in Los Angeles at the Great Western Forum, which had all been completely re-edited and repackaged, started on TV this last Sunday in Las Vegas, every Sunday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon. And they feature some of the classic WOW matches, as well as some of the performers and stars that will be on the big show on the 19th there at the Eastside Cannery Casino and Hotel.
Yeah, we read some of those names, too. We read some of those names before we got you on the phone, David. I mean, Roxy, Riot, Randy Rah-Rah, Patty Pep, of course, the world champion Lana Starr makes her return, Jungle Girl, Jade, Sandy and Sunny, part of the Beach Patrol, obviously a great and beautiful tag team. Caged Heat, the tag team champions, defending their titles that night. Of course, Delta and Loco, Lot of Pain. This is a great card. If you're kind of even not even aware of women's wrestling, especially with WOW, jump on that website on WOWE.com. That's WOWE.com. Read about these female wrestlers who go out there and put their butts on the line every time and give you one hell of a show.
Well, Brian, and one thing I want to note, you mentioned some of the great performers that will be there, including Jade, Jungle Girl, fabulous Lana Starr.
Right.
And Caged Heat, of course, defending their titles. But we're going to have, the first time ever, many of the independent wrestlers that are on the circuits in Florida, Chicago, Philadelphia, also on the card that night.
Wow.
So you will see some of the veterans of the independent circles for wrestling up against some of the WOW wrestlers. So it will really be a special evening, one that any wrestling fan from across the country, it's a great city to get to. Even today, as we speak today, JetBlue, I don't like to give plugs, but JetBlue has a $12 ticket in celebration of 12-12-12 to Las Vegas, Nevada. $12 to get you to Las Vegas.
Really?
And I'm telling you, today's specials on airlines from Southwest.com to JetBlue, book your tickets to come in for a great weekend of activities in Las Vegas, all capping off that Saturday night. So anybody can come in on Friday, get their tickets today, come in on Friday, hang around the Eastside Cannery all day on Saturday, and then watch the big event that evening. VIP tickets, Brian and Joe, will permit the fans to go backstage for the first time ever, where they'll have a personal meet and greet with their favorite WoW superhero.
Cool.
And they'll also win free exclusive WoW merchandise. So it's definitely going to be a night. 12 superhero matches, all taped for television. So all the fans that are coming in will be on television, and it's sure to have pandemonium erupt that night as Lana Starr defends her title against the Lady London, better known as Equestriana, a new woman wrestler performer that we haven't seen the likes of ever. I know you're going to have on today Leilani Kai, who is a veteran of women's wrestling, holder of belts, championships, and been all over the world. She can't believe the magnificent athletic prowess of some of these WoW stars that are performing that night in Las Vegas.
Fantastic. You know, we also talked about the tag team division, and in case you guys are just tuning in to Off the Top Rope Radio here with Brian Shank and Joe C., we are speaking with Mr. David McLane, president and promoter of WoW Wrestling, the superheroes, of course, out there of WoW Wrestling. Check out the website at WOWE.com, and we're enjoying our time here together for the next few minutes. Obviously, we're going to be talking more as I think the weeks go by about this big event. Again, that's Saturday night, January the 19th, 2013 already coming around the corner, 7:30 p.m. Get on out there and get some tickets, get some information. You can also call this number from what I've got here on the screen, 702-856-5470. That is a phone number to get ticket information for the big event for WoW. That's 702-856-5470. And you can also check out the, if you want some information about the particular casino they're running it at, you can also go to CanneryCasinos.com, CANNERY casinos.com, get an idea of where you're going. It's in a beautiful part of the town right there near the Strip, so it should be a lot of fun. And David, as we're talking here, like I said, Joe's been over there fielding a lot of phone calls here. I want to read this one from a lady who called in. Her name is Cheryl. She just gave her name as Cheryl L, like in, I guess, lady, so we'll call her Cheryl, from Manitoba, Canada, giving us a call. See, I told you, all around the world, David, we got callers everywhere. She said
she's going to enjoy one of the performers we have, Marie.
Yep.
She is a wrestler from Canada, and she'll be, I'm wondering if she's coming out with a hockey stick or a Montreal police whistle, but she'll be in there. She's a Quebec, Montreal Canadian.
Nice.
And what's the question from Canada?
Well, she made more of a comment. She said that she loved what you did with the World Roller Hockey League, and we love everything that you do, and she's a regular listener here of Off the Top Rope Radio. So, fantastic. That's a nice comment to say, hey, what's your product of what you're doing and what you're putting your hands into? This is a good thing because you know what's going on, and you've been in the business for many years, and if you're touching it, it should be a heck of a program.
Well, boy, she really followed my career then to know that. And,
I'm just guessing that's what she
I
said.
loved doing the roller hockey. It lasted over 10 years, and we had a blast doing it. And
Nice.
It was a great sport, and we loved, of course, being up in Canada because just like I'm originally from Indiana, we love basketball in Indiana. In Canada, they love hockey. And
Nice.
so we were proud to go there often.
That's great. You know, and people all over the world, like I said, do listen to the program. We got another call here from San Carlos, Mexico. Milton Ruiz has called in. Milton says, where can we get your nutritional products? You are the best, and we love WoW. So is there something?
I tell you, these fans are digging deep here.
They are.
I was called in by some buddies to run a nutraceutical company a while back in Las Vegas. Those pills are not being sold anymore because they worked. You had to take 5 a day, but unfortunately, because you had to take 5 a day and they suppressed your appetite so you could lose weight. At the retail level, they did not work, only at doctor's offices. That's getting way into too much detail, but I appreciate the question on someone.
There you go. Well, that's
the best thing to do is eat less and go out and exercise. That'll help them with their weight loss.
Amen to that, my friend. Amen to that. It's about 2:45 here in the Mountain Time Zone, 1:45 out there in the Pacific Time Zone, and we're moving on here a little bit. I want to ask you a couple more things here before we obviously speak with Leilani about her career and, of course, her involvement with Women of Wrestling. There's a couple questions I wanted to ask because, you know, we're seeing WoW coming back. I mean, it's been kind of on the back burner for a while. And why did it take so long, David, for WoW Wrestling to return to the audience out there who enjoy women's wrestling.
A lot of synergies had to come together and play together at the same time. And all those synergies that I had hoped for have not materialized even as of today. So it's a continual effort. It's pushing a rock up a hill to do it correctly. I've never been interested in promoting WOW without it being one of its, all the lights and spectacle of creating a WOW experience for the fans. So subsequently, even though after it expired from television and some events were run with WOW wrestlers and under the WOW banner, I didn't feel it was justified to keep the promotion going without it being able to be done correctly, in my opinion. And that's with all the bells and the whistles and doing it in a spectacular location like the Eastside Cannery Casino and Hotel. And without all those necessities being at the same time, we just had to take an extended long time to bring it back. And subsequently, we are back. But we really need the fans' help.
Right.
Because the reason it's back now is because of the support of the Eastside Cannery Casino, support of our sponsors, which we're announcing next week as our marketing partners, and the support of our international distribution department, which is getting the show sold in Japan, Thailand, Canada, we hope, and certainly other international markets. But we really need the fans to step up to the plate and help us get a domestic television distributor.
There you go.
I've met with many companies regarding WOW TV networks, and it's a difficult proposition. You've got the WWE, which is a 100-pound gorilla. You've got another wrestling outfit that's on Spike TV, and they each have a women's division. So to do a all-women's wrestling league and promotion, it's got to be demonstrated by the wrestling fans that it's desired and there's a demand for it.
Wonderful.
So we need everyone to go to WOW Facebook, tell us what you think, support the promotion, and follow us on Twitter, and really get behind the promotion. Because we want to keep doing it, but we only want to do it if it's done correctly.
There you go.
And I don't want to do what other women wrestling promotions have tried to do, which is put it on in a barn, if you will, or in a studio with 150 people watching. I just don't want to do it. We've got to do it so it's a big spectacular event, and do it because that's what the wrestlers deserve. These are great athletes. Leilani Kai's been in this business forever. Our other trainer, Selena Majors, has. Of course, we're going to honor someone that evening. I'll do another radio interview, but we're going to do a Princess Jasmine Award. Princess Jasmine was one of the wrestlers that broke the color barrier. She wrestled in the 60s and the 70s. She wrestled all over the world, including in Canada. She was based out of Chicago, worked a lot for the Vern Gagne promotion. Of course, I met her through the Dick the Bruiser promotion and Wilbur Snyder promotion. And we're going to honor the tradition of women's wrestling and those that honor the sport on the night of January 19th at the Eastside Cannery. So we're not going to forget our roots. 2, we're going to honor the past. And 3, we're going to celebrate the future that night.
Very cool.
And by saying that, that's why it's taken so long to get WOW back. We've had to do it correctly, and we had to put pieces to the puzzle together to make it a success. We're on the verge of success, but we really need the fan support to push us into the success that it deserves.
Well said. I think that's a very excellent explanation, because why go half-ass when you can go out and do it the right way? And before we go ahead and speak with Leilani, I just wanted to read you 2 more comments before we let you go that we had while Joe was taking some phone calls here. We had to actually shut the phones off because just so many people were calling. I kid you not. Jonas from Quincy, Massachusetts called in. He said there's nothing better than the gorgeous women of wrestling, the best programming on TV, internet, Google is where he heard about the show, so we thank him for that. And another call here, too, Jarrett James from Queens, New New York called in and says, where can we get a schedule of all the events coming up? I'm a big fan of WOW, and I'm a regular listener to Off the Top Rope Radio. So if you can answer quickly where they can find out the schedule, I'm guessing the website, but if there's something else, we'd like to hear that from you in conclusion here.
There are events scheduled through May. This first event is our showcase event.
No.
Subsequent events will be announced on WOWE.com and, of course, on our Facebook site.
Great.
And when you get to our Facebook site, you can sign up. Maybe you can do it on our website also, but you can also sign up, which will give you instant messaging on the next event after January 19th. But it will be held in Las Vegas, and it will be at the Eastside Cannery again, and it will be in February, will be our second event.
Beautiful. I know we're going to plug it a couple more times here before we actually end the show here in about 40 minutes or so. I want to thank you, David McLane, for coming on the program. Of course, the promoter and president of WOW Wrestling, the Superheroes. This is going to be a fantastic event, Saturday, January the 19th, 2013, Eastside Cannery Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. It'll be an awesome program. If you have any way of getting down there, please make sure you do it. Like he said there, JetBlue, check out their stuff for the $12 airfare. Southwest Airlines, I believe, had something going on too. Go out there, get busy, figure it out. I know we're going to speak to Leilani here in just a second or two, but David, again, thank you so much for coming on. It was very interesting to hear what you had to say, and I wish you all the best of luck in this venture, and I know that you will succeed because obviously you know what you're talking about. You've got the experience, and I know you got the beautiful women of wrestling on your side.
Well, Brian, thank you. Thank you to Joe C. And
absolutely.
We'll only succeed with the help of the fans, so
That's
we hope
right.
they get behind us.
Amen, brother. Amen.
We look forward to having you back on again. Thank you, Dave.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys, and let's have a great new year with WOW.
All right, you got it. Okay, very good. We're going to have Leilani Kai here on the phone in a moment here. I know he's going to hand the telephone off to her, and we got a nice picture of her from yesteryear. I love that picture.
Leilani Kai is walking in right now,
Woo-hoo!
Brian. This is it. Can you believe it? You got Leilani Kai
awesome.
on the radio.
She's
it's
awesome.
Unbelievable. What a spectacular today.
It's just going to get better and better as the minutes tick by. That's all I can tell you.
Well, hello.
Leilani Kai, welcome to Off the Top Rope Radio here at Brian Shank and Joe C. on KQCK Live, heard exclusively on KQCKlive.com. It's a pleasure to have you here, my dear. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good.
Getting better and better every single day as it goes.
Yeah.
We have a good time out here in California with the training
Yep.
at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a wonderful month, and I'm so excited about the Wild Women's of Wrestling.
Without a doubt. You know, we talked a little bit, you and I, off air here the last couple of days to kind of set up the interview, and I know that you and I have talked a lot on Facebook and whatnot and just become friends over the last year, which I'm really happy to call you my friend because I followed your career for a long time back in the WWF in the day when you were women's champion and, of course, tag team champion with Judy Martin. Had some fantastic matches, and I think your story is quite interesting, how you got into the business and how long you've been in it and actually how dedicated you are to that. And we'll talk about that here in a moment or two. I do also want to speak to you in detail, if we could, about your involvement with Women of Wrestling. And I know we're going to be taking some phone calls as well. Some of the fans will call in, and Joe C. across the board here, he'll be taking the calls and handing me the papers. So if you want to give us a call, you know, pass on the information to Joe C. He'll take your name, where you're from, how you heard about the show. If you have a comment or a question for Leilani Kai, the great Leilani Kai, she would love to obviously hear those comments and answer them to the best of her knowledge. So without further ado, let's keep going on with this. And I just want to say, first of all, congratulations for being a part of Women of Wrestling. It's a heck of an honor to be involved in. Just in less than 40 days or so, Las Vegas, Nevada will be turned up on its ear.
Well, I'm excited. Just ask away. I'll answer any questions you have for me.
Very cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about your career here from the beginning a little bit, and we'll kind of work in and we'll end the interview on talking a little bit about Women of Wrestling. You're obviously a ladies champion. You beat Wendy Richter, then you lost to her at WrestleMania 1 in Madison Square Garden. Can you remember what it was like in '85, having the big Rock and Wrestling Connection, having the big WrestleMania event? Because a lot of people said that if WrestleMania was not successful, they didn't know how much further Vince might be in business or something. What's your memories of that particular match and that time era for you?
My memory, I really didn't know much about what was going on with WrestleMania. I didn't know it was a pay-per-view. I found out like the last minute. I was brought in from Japan. I was in Japan about 2 days before the event. Mm-hmm. I come in and it was just exciting. I just saw all these people there and folks, and they explained to me what it was about, and I was just excited. I don't know what I can say. I can't remember too much about it, but it was the most exciting night of my life.
Great.
I had the most fun. Wendy's a great athlete, and I just it was just a lot of fun. That's all I remember.
Well, just to be involved with the inaugural WrestleMania just has to be an exciting accomplishment and an addition to your resume. I mean, that was the coup de grace, I guess you could say, of the wrestling world back in the day. It was such a big event with stars all over the world coming in, and then as it progressed and whatnot into WrestleMania 2, it just got bigger and bigger each and every year. So I know that you said it was a lot of fun, and Wendy Richter, obviously a good friend of yours at the time. And I want to read a phone call. Joe's taking some phone calls here across the board as you and I are talking. A gentleman named Timothy called in from San Diego, California. He says, how did you decide to get involved in wrestling right out of high school? Why did you get into it, I guess is what he's probably saying. And he also says he's a regular listener of Off the Top Rope Radio. So, Timothy, we thank you for that. So, if you want to answer that question, we'd all love to hear that one.
Oh, well, I was like 17, and my brother really liked it a lot, and that's all he talked about. And one evening, we just both went together, and I saw a couple women wrestlers there. I think their name were Bonnie Watson and Sherry Lee, and they wrestled each other. And I thought, gosh, that looks like a lot of fun. And I was athletic then anyway, and I was still in high school. But when I finished high school, I just started traveling with him, going back and forth to Tampa and Naples, and we went to different events, and I just got more excited about it. And then I started asking around how I can get involved with it and if it was possible. And it was very, very hard at that time to get into it. It wasn't easy at all. They would give me to run around. They were protected the business very much back then. And I just got with a couple of the wrestlers, and they just gave me an address at Moolah's, and I ended up going to Augusta, Georgia, getting up as far as Augusta, Georgia. And I rode back with Ann Casey and Susan Green back to Moolah's, and I just started training the next day.
Wow. I
trained probably about 3 or 4 weeks, and I got sent to Alaska. I did some training over there with one of the new trainees along with me, and we stayed there a month and trained there. And then I took my first trip to New York for Vince McMahon Sr., and I started up there, and I was in tag teams. And I just went from there, and I got booked a lot. And then I was in it to maybe about 7 months later, I started going to Japan.
Nice.
And it's just one place that I just kept going back to, and I got a lot of training over there.
That's awesome.
It's a little bit different. But I liked working for the Fabulous Moolah. It has some nice ladies there. They worked very, very hard, and if you were with Moolah, then you got booked out.
That's good.
It was territorial back then. So I just went to different territories and worked with different new girls, and I was basically what you call a heel. And we just got lots of work back then. And then it became just one company, and lost all the territories. It's not the same as it used to be.
Yeah, it really isn't. I mean, I remember the days of when it was, the territories were all over the place. I mean, you'd open up a wrestling magazine and it was 16 or 17 different promotions and 16 or 17 different top tens in those different promotions, like Continental, and you had Mid-South and World Class and Georgia and Florida and WWF, WCW. I mean, it was all over the place. Calgary Stampede. It was quite different. In case you're just joining in, ladies and gentlemen, here to Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C., we are speaking, of course, with Leilani Kai, the great and beautiful and stunning Leilani Kai, who has had a hell of a career in women's wrestling. She's a former women's champion, tag team champion. She's trained some of the best. She's worked with some of the best because she is one of the best, and I'm honored to have you on the phone here. So moving on here a little bit to some more calls, because like I said, Joe over here is busier than a beaver in the woods. Matt Benson called in from Aspen, Colorado, and Matt says, I'm very intrigued by your use of nunchucks. Can you tell me about your martial arts experience? I love you. And he says that he learned from the show from Google. So I read about that too. I read about the nunchucks, and I want to hear a little bit more about that. So if you can let Matt know what he's talking about there.
Oh, I didn't go to no school for that. I was in Japan, and they just handed them to me. And I started practicing along with a lady wrestler named Bull Nakano. We started
wow.
training together.
Yeah.
We were partners. And
Great.
I kept busting myself in the head, and I couldn't understand why. So then I had to be measured for them. They have to be like from your elbow to your wrist. And it got better, but I trained like 3 years with them.
Wow.
And we practiced like 3 hours a day. And I'm like 5th degree on them. So but it's been a long time since I've done it. So that was experience and a half. I used them probably about 5 or 6 times on TV, and that's about it.
Wow.
It wasn't like all the time. But she was using them, and I just kind of like stopped doing it. But I could probably do them now if I wanted to, but it was experience. I just learned on my own. I didn't get taught to do it.
So if there's someone that's going to like break into your hotel room, you got a set of nunchucks next to you, they're not going to win, are they?
Oh, I don't like them. I can only do it once a one. I can't do a double. I can't do that.
That's nice. Let's keep moving on to some of these calls. We got a few more here to go to before we let you go. We got about 5 or 6 more minutes here left in the interview, and really enjoying our time here on KQCK Radio. Heard exclusively on KQCKlive.com. Brian Shank and Joe C. with the great Leilani Kai. We also just heard from David McLane, president and promoter of WOW Wrestling. So get on over to their website, WOWE.com, and check it out for all the great events coming up, and the big one on Saturday 19th of January, 7:30 bell time at the Eastside Cannery Casino and Hotel in Las Vegas. Alina called in from Montreal. Oh, she says, I love you, Brian. Thank you, Alina. I love you too, honey. She says, anyone, this is for Leilani, she says, anyone that you're looking forward to whipping on, let me repeat this again. She says, Leilani, is there anyone that you're looking forward to whipping on in the near future? So there's a lot of girls in WOW Wrestling. There should be a couple you may want to beat up, huh?
Oh, I like Victoria. Mm-hmm. I like well, I like Victoria. It's probably one of my favorites I've seen so far. Mm-hmm. There's lots of ladies in Florida that I really like. Mm-hmm. But I haven't really thought about that at the moment. I'm really into like training and teaching. I love to teach wrestling.
Great.
I'm a technical wrestler
at
heart, and that's mainly my goal. And also, I haven't really thought about wrestling against anyone right now, but it would be probably Victoria. She's one of my favorites.
Leilani has one of the best.
Actually,
Leilani Kai has one of the best pile drivers in the business too. I mean, when you used to pile drive people, it was one of the best I've seen. I mean, you were giving Paul Orndorff a run for his money. Let me tell you that.
I saw a picture the other day of that. I said, "Oh my God, I forgot about I used to do that."
You know, another couple people.
I can't remember the names of the holds anymore, but.
Well, that's
but
okay.
I just learned from watching, and it was mainly the men wrestlers I watched. I watched Steven Regal for such a long time. He's one of my favorites.
Great talent.
And it's just so smooth, and but I watched it. But just being in the ring and doing it every single day, and working with someone every single day, I just learned off of everyone. Mm-hmm. You never stop learning, so. I don't consider myself the best. I think I was just blessed to be in the ring to get ones started, get the start for them. That was basically probably what I was brought into wrestling for, is basically get someone started for their career in wrestling. And I was just blessed I was able to be on the events I was and go places I did. And I wouldn't take it back for the world. If I was a lot younger, I would do it again. But I like teaching it, and I like teaching for the WOW Women Wrestling.
That's great.
And that's going to be at the Eastside Cannery Casino and Hotel, January 19th.
Yep, sure is, and that's a great way to break in the new year, of course. The Eastside Cannery Casino Hotel, like we talked about, you can go to their website, which is cannerycasinos.com, CANNERY, casinos.com. There's also a phone number if you're into dialing digits and trying to get some ticket information. You can call them at 702-856-5470. That's 702-856-5470. 5470. You can also get information on the Women of Wrestling website, which is WOWE.com. Go visit that. The great thing about that website is you can go and visit about, 18 to 20 something of the ladies on there. You just put the cursor over their picture and it slides over and gives you a little feedback and what they're about and where they've kind of trained and where they want to go in the world of the wrestling. We also talked about Lana Starr defending her World Heavyweight Championship, Jungle Girl, Jade, Caged Heat and tag team competition, possibly Sandy and Sunny hooking up together as well. And we talked about her too a little bit here with you. Selena Majors, who used to wrestle as Bambi back in the day. She's a big part of this as well, and I know you're very good friends with her. In the last couple minutes here that we have to go with the interview, what can you tell the fans they can expect out of WOW Wrestling?
Oh, the greatest, most beautiful athletes you ever seen. They are like superheroes. They are beautiful, and I'm so excited. I'm so proud of them, and they're really training very, very hard. And I think it's going to be a spectacular night of WOW Wrestling. Tickets only start at $25.
Yeah, and you can get those VIP tickets too, and really get the chance to meet some of the wrestlers, and get some backstage access and priority seating, and all the cool check-in and the laminated VIP ticket around your lanyard. I mean, there's a lot of nice frills involved with this. It's going to be a hell of an event.
Yeah, WOW Wrestling with David McLane has been one of my most exciting to me in the last several years. I'm having a really good time, and I'm having a good time training, and I think we'll do well, and I'm hoping it'll just keep on continuing, and we're going to use independent women wrestlers too, so I'm excited about it. I'm all for women's wrestling, or for any of them that want to try and get into it and want to make it their career. I'm all for helping them, and I hope it does well, and, well, I know it will do well.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you, because there's so many people involved in this federation for it not to succeed. Yourself, Bambi, a lot of other people like David had mentioned too, David McLane, president and promoter of the company for WOW Wrestling Superheroes. He also mentioned that there's a lot of great independent people coming in who are going to try to make names for themselves, and there's just never going to be a lack of ladies involved in this profession and in this particular promotion. So I wish you all the luck on that, and I hope that one day down the road we get you back on the air. We can talk a little bit more maybe about your career and what you've been up to, but I know right now your mind and your body and your spirit is focused on WOW Wrestling. I wish you and David and everybody else involved the best of luck. I hope I can be part of the show here on the 19th. I'm going to do my best to get on out there, and just keep doing what you're doing. We love you. Merry Christmas to you and everybody out there, and thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you, Brian, and thank you, and all to your listeners.
You got it.
Thank you very much. Have a nice holiday.
You too. Talk to you soon, Leilani. Love you. All right, there you go, Leilani Kai. Excuse me, David McLane. WOW Wrestling is going to be good. It's going to be one of the great events of the new year, and if you watched wrestling back in the day, like Glow and stuff like that, you have to realize that these ladies are out there trying as hard as anybody can in this wrestling business, whether you're male or female or whatever, it doesn't make a difference. You are going to be out there wrestling some of the greatest ladies in the world today. And if you've seen some of the footage on YouTube of WOW Wrestling here lately in the last year or so, there's some real wildcats out there who can really go. You've got high flyers, you've got technical wrestlers, you've got psychology-driven type of people who really want to just make a big name for themselves. And there's a lot of people involved with WOW Wrestling, from the office side to the training side to everybody else. And this is a very well done and professional promotion, WOW Wrestling. Again, go to their website, WOWE.com, to see everybody involved with Leilani Kai, Bambi, of course, and we talked about the world champion, Lana Starr, Jade, Jungle Girl. They're all going to be there Saturday, January the 19th, the year 2013, in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, without further ado, I must do this introduction properly, so a moment of silence, please.
Hello?
All right, let's bring that down and bring Ricky on there. Okay. All right, there you go. We had to have Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project for Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's the only and proper way to introduce one of the greatest wrestlers and one of my good friends, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So, Ricky, how you doing, pal?
Shankster, what are you shanking?
What am I shanking? Nothing right now.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I bet you nobody on radio has come up there and opened it up like that, asking you that question. What do you shank? Shanking or shanking?
we don't want him shanking anymore in studio.
That's right. No more shanking for me on the airways, my friend. Only when I'm, well, we'll leave it at that. What are you steaming? Maybe I should ask you that. What are you steaming?
What am I steaming? I was steaming some crawdads and fish and stuff like that.
Oh, you lucky man. I'd love to have some of that right now. I'm trying to get over the stupid cold, so I apologize if I don't sound up to my usual standard of excellence here on the radio, but you know, Ricky, it's always a pleasure having you on the phone, my friend, and I don't ever just say my friend if I don't mean it. You are one of my good friends here in the business, and we've gotten a chance to know each other here over the last year or so, and it's a real honor to know you. It's a real honor to be able to just pick up the phone and we can just chat about really anything, and it's always great to have you on the program. You told me you're down in Tampa right now. What's happening down there in FLA?
Well, FCW is cranking along pretty good. We got about 70 guys at the camp.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking probably around 8, 9 divas, and everybody's very busy. But the bottom line is, we just brought aboard. It just started this past Monday. Billy Gunn. Are you familiar with him?
Did you say Greg Gagne?
Yeah, he lives outside of Orlando, and last week it was brought to our attention that he is coming aboard as one of the trainers, and sure enough, he was there Monday morning.
Wow. Now, I just want to make sure you said Greg Gagne of the AWA.
No, I said Billy Gunn.
Oh, Billy Gunn. I beg your pardon. There was just a little bit of a pause there when you were saying it. We must have just had a bad connection. I apologize. I did read about that on one of the websites. Billy Gunn coming to work, and he does live outside Orlando, like you said. I had a chance to talk to him earlier this year. I'll tell you what, I saw him here in Arizona for a promotional event. He's in great shape. He's really proud of how well he's cleaned up and done his stuff, and that's a great addition to your roster.
Oh, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt. There's a lot of things that I can't get into the ring and do physicality, but I've had Billy this whole week, and we're on the same page when it comes to what we're trying to teach him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still able to get in the ring and show him what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And so I've got a guy that can give an example, not only in a very authoritative and a way of understanding it, but I'm just happy that he's come aboard with us, because a lot of times when I'm trying to describe it and this and that, and I can only go maybe half speed through the motions, but this week was a week of violence. That's the way I call it. It's not that you want to get out there and look pretty.
Yeah.
And even though if you're a baby face, but this is a week of showing the dark side of you,
right,
that you can match. And what a great example Billy was able to translate physicality for me. Mm-hmm. And man, that's how I was going to just jump right in the ring and just start going to it.
Yeah. Well, he's been very active here in the last couple of years, working the independent circuits. That's where I saw him up here in Phoenix back in May. He came in with Sean Waltman, Mr. X-Pac, of course. And I'll tell you what, when I knew he was going to be there, I was working for the Fed. I was doing the interviews backstage. I was part of the TV program and everything else. We were having a blast. And I heard he was there, and I'm like, we're going to go ahead and do a promo with those guys. And they're like, yeah, let's send him in. I'm standing in there, Rick, and I'm waiting for him to come in, and this guy walks through the door, and I was just like, holy crap. Who is that? I didn't recognize him at first. It was Billy Gunn. Yeah. This guy is friggin' huge, man. I can't believe how big he is physically. He is such a crazy presence. I mean, he's just a big guy, and boy, he can still move inside the ring like he weighs about 150 pounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, I he's probably, about 6'4"?
Oh, every bit of it, yeah.
Yeah. And great shape at probably 240, 50.
Easily,
50.
Yeah.
And moves well in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to know him very much as I got out of the business in '94.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm sure glad that he's come aboard with us down there at FCW, because he's been able to translate physicality like the way I like to see it, and we're both on the same page when it comes to coaching and teaching it to the young boys.
Fantastic. That's a very good thing, because obviously if the two teachers aren't working on the same page, it kind of makes a little bit of a confusion effort for the students and the people who are trying to learn. And in case you're just tuning into the program here on Off the Top Rope Radio, we are speaking, of course, to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, good friend of mine, someone who is a legend in this business and someone who has done so much and done it so well for so many years. So we're always glad to have you on here. It's very wonderful you give us your time and just talk to us like we do here. And Ricky, before we go on with more of that, that because obviously that's a great thing you're doing out there with these young kids. We're getting phone calls left and right here off the air. Joe C. across the board is moving very quickly with his non-injured hand to take all these notes. I want to read a couple of them here to you because we got a call that came in from Hawaii, the Big Island. Kono is his name. He said, Ricky, do you still hold it against Randy Savage for the throat injury he caused you, I believe, in 1986? Now, I think maybe before I have you comment on that, I'm pretty sure that was a worked angle. I don't think that he actually injured you in the throat. Is that correct?
He didn't injure me, but I will say that we that particular moment, where working in such close margins, I understood, it's like, I'll say sorry now and worry about the results afterwards. So, the plywood on the bell, it was a bit stiff.
Oof.
I right after that, tried to do an interview of talking, and then I had no problem with my throat being a little bit on the touchy side. There you go.
Well, I guess the question too is that do you hold it against him, or did you ever hold it against him for what he did, or was it something like, hey, sometimes it happens, sometimes you get tatered in the ring and it ain't on purpose. So I mean,
well, that's my feeling. Yeah. We knew the big picture was going to be at WrestleMania 3, and so going forward with that. Brian, the only thing I can really say is that look at the results we got after that WrestleMania 3 match. I mean, we got so many accolades and handshakes and pat on the backs and got old-timers to the left and right. And it continues to this day. Everywhere I go, people that are old enough, as a kid that watched it, back in '87. But it's a wonderful feeling that people... it could be like a particular Super Bowl or a big British Open golf game or a tennis match or something like that. But, and everybody's respected sports, when they remember you and going back over 20 years, it's a good feeling that we made, Savage and I, God bless and rest his soul, we made a mark in the business on that particular night.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat joining us here on Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C. Heard exclusively on KQCKlive.com. Always a great time to have you on the phone. And also, too, Ricky, the gentleman here, Kono, that asked that question, he says, we love you. We listen as much as we can here at Off the Top Rope Radio. So there you go. He also says Off the Top Rope Radio rules, and we love it. So thank you, Kono, for that. I know speaking on behalf of Ricky, too, he loves all his fans and everybody that ever has a chance. Now, before I read any more of these and before we go on to anything else here, we got about a good 12 minutes or so in the interview. I just wanted to let you know, Ricky, there was somebody I spoke to earlier this week, and it was Morgan Dollar from Cauliflower Alley Club, of course. And Morgan had mentioned that the last time he saw you, you were wearing a shirt, and you actually had a string hanging out of one of your shirts. And I know Grizzly Adams, of course, had also been there for that and mentioned that he saw these strings hanging out of your shirts there, and you were kind of looking to see where those strings were hanging out of your shirts, and Grizzly Adams says, no, I'm sorry, those are your arms. I beg your pardon. Now,
that is true. What a great joke. Referring to the size of your arm with a piece of string hanging out of your shirt sleeve.
Oh, God. I wasn't there when it happened or said, but I wish I could have been, because when Morgan told me that, I talked to him last night, and I told him you were going to be on the program, and he mentioned that. He says, Brian, you got to tell that story. He says, Ricky said, not only did you get me once, Dan Haggerty, you got me twice.
He opened the door on that, and I just fell through it.
Yeah.
I do remember that. It was a great ha-ha moment.
Yeah. Yeah, he said you were laughing pretty good, so I had to bring that up. Morgan begged me to make sure that was said on the air. So, of course, I know you love a good joke. I know you love a good rib, so that was actually pretty funny. Now, Ricky, going on here a little bit, there's some other people calling in. A gentleman named Mooney calling in from San Francisco. He says, do you travel to Japan anymore to see fans and friends that you have made over your years in wrestling and Japanese wrestling? Have you gone back to Japan lately, or do you plan on going back anytime soon?
Well, the last time I was there, I'm thinking getting around when it was the WrestleMania 25 year, which was what, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's when we did and I think it was right after the pay-per-view after that WrestleMania that Vince McMahon was so, I guess, impressed with the way I could still work and go in the ring. That, one of the things I was doing at the time is that being the agent producer was when you go overseas and they do a tour, they send in like an Arn Anderson or Dean Malenko or IRS, Mike Rotunda, and we oversee the tours, and make sure that all the guys show up in them, the first match through on all the way up through the main events. But I was over there when we did a Japan tour, and it was that time after Backlash, the pay-per-view right after WrestleMania, that I'd worked single matches with Jericho, that I went overseas to be the producer and oversee the show, but all at the show with Jericho. That being said, that was the last time I'd been there. I don't have any, didn't get to meet up with any of my mom's side of the family and her relatives. It was a very, very busy tour. We were over there for a short, and then right back to, believe it or not, to Hawaii, and then back to the States. And then we came to the Carolinas right after that tour, and I was still wrestling Jericho in the, my old stomping grounds, the Mid-Atlantic, territory time with Crockett Promotions. And the fans gave me a warm reception. We wrestled in Savannah, Columbus, and not Macon, but in Greenville, South Carolina, and had about a 3 or 4 day run after coming back from overseas with Jericho, and the fans in the Carolinas didn't forget me either, and we did good.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun, and that was the last time.
Wow, what a flight schedule! Went from Japan to Hawaii, back to the States, over to North Carolina. That's a lot of frequent flyer miles for you there, man. I'll tell you what, that's that's quite a bit of traveling. But I know you're pretty much used to that over the years you've been involved in professional wrestling, man.
Well, it's sort of I guess it's part of the perks, and you stay at along with the other producer agents is on, and then we stay at Marriott Properties. We collect our points, and then whatever airline you collect your mileage, and when it's time for us to take our vacations, we use the mileage, we use the points, we fly wherever we want to go around the world for free, we stay at the properties for free. Nice. The only thing we got to worry about is what we eat and drink. So it makes it for a nice vacation. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. Now you're involved. You are inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. There's a lot of names that have been kicked around here about who can be into the class of 2013. I've heard a few names, and I've been reading a little bit about some of the fans who'd like to see certain people in there. A couple of the names that came aboard was Kevin Nash. A couple others, too, was Bruno Sammartino. We also heard someone in the likes of someone like King Kong Bundy, for instance, and some other people who have maybe not wrestled as much like you guys have in the past. Jake the Snake Roberts was brought up as well. Do you have anybody that you would yourself personally or professionally for any reason, would anybody there that you'd like to see inducted this year, or at least maybe like the next year or so?
Well, not mentioning any names, but some of the guys that come to my mind right now have passed away. And during their time, which was during my time, they were great workers. But bringing up some of the names that you just mentioned, I kind of feel that those names are those guys, especially Bruno.
Yeah.
What he did in the run that he had for the WWF at the time, WWE now, but when I come off of back surgery about maybe 4 months ago, and I was in the recovery area in the hospital, and lo and behold, I get a call from Bruno Sammartino.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Wow.
Dr. Maroon, who's based out of Pittsburgh,
wow,
and that's where Bruno lives, is the same doctor for Bruno. Dr. Bruno and said, I just had Ricky Steamboat in here. And I could probably count on one hand how many times I've met Bruno Sammartino throughout my life, my career.
Okay.
And that just tells you what kind of guy he is. He could have told Dr. Maroon, okay, yeah, tell him I said hey and wish him the best.
Sure.
But about 7, 8 o'clock that night, he gave me a call, and we spoke for almost an hour.
Wow. Tremendous.
And I was taken back by it. I mean, everybody thinks of all the stuff that I've been able to accomplish in this business, and the who's who and the Ricky Steamboats and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was overwhelmed by Bruno Sammartino giving me a call to wish me well, and that we happened to hook up with the same doctors.
Wow.
I mean, that was a nice moment for me when I went to sleep.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, that's cool too, because that shows brotherhood between brothers. Obviously you both worked very hard in this business, and I think Bruno held the world championship at one time for 8 years solid.
Yeah.
Which
from what you know, Brian, and what also I know, and it's not where it's patting me on the back, but he's very selective on who he talks to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I got that call, it was, we talked like we had been road pals for 20 years.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. I know Bruno was kind of sour on the business a little bit. He made it very clear and very public and vocal that, the way kind of the business kind of turned around a little bit with, the animals in the ring and maybe some of the characters. And obviously when it got closer to the Attitude Era, some of the themes and some of the plot lines and stuff, he kind of said, this isn't wrestling anymore. It's not what I remember. It's not what we did. And I know that with his name being brought up, a lot of the feedback I read by other fans were saying, well, because of how he feels and how it's been over the last so many years and his feelings towards the business when it progressed, he probably will not accept being brought in to the Hall of Fame. But you're right. What you just said there in terms of anybody out of that list who should be, it's kind of a shame that Bruno's not there, because when you think old, even Worldwide Wrestling Federation days, the gentleman was one of the best. He carried himself as a champion. He looked like a champion. He wrestled like a champion. And he was a true full-blooded wrestler and a machine inside that ring, no doubt.
And I totally agree with you. I mean, the man naturally could lay down at any one time and bench 500 pounds. You go back to the era that he was working, that was, even today's standard, that's impressive.
Yeah. You better believe it.
And for so many years, would participate in the Pittsburgh Marathon.
Yes, he would.
And run 26 miles.
Mm-hmm.
A guy weighing 290, 300 pounds going out there and finishing in the top tier
mm-hmm.
of the 3,000 runners that were running that particular day at Pittsburgh in the marathon.
Incredible. That's incredible.
It's just an incredible guy, and it simply blew me away that night that I get this phone call and I'm laying in the hospital bed and I pick it up and it's hello, Rick Taylor, this is Bruno Sammartino. I was probably speechless for a few seconds, and then we got to talking, and then the next thing you know, about an hour went by.
Man. That's great. I mean, Bruno is one of the coolest people. I think that if you bring up a name of the past in terms of someone who's just, like I said earlier, a true professional, and for him to go out of his way like that, or just even to make the effort like that, and to talk to you as if he knew you for so many years, that's really special. And hats off to Bruno. And speaking of your surgery, I've kept in touch with you a few times after you had the surgery. I checked in on you, see how you were doing, and sent you some texts asking how your health was doing. And in the next couple minutes here before we got to go, do you want to update the fans on how you've been feeling and give just a little bit of a detail of what you went through for the surgery?
Well, I'll tell you what, my back and my right leg has never felt better. It's something that I've been dealing with for about 18 years.
Wow.
And finally, it got to the point to where I was getting this drop foot syndrome.
Yeah.
Which I had a vertebrae, the L5, pushing on my sciatic nerve.
Oh.
And then I was getting this occasional drop foot. And I think a couple of months leading up to surgery, instead of just maybe dealing with the drop foot thing, and that's like your foot getting nerveless and floppy, happening about once a month, it started happening like 3 or 4 times a week.
Ugh.
So I had an MRI done. My L5 was pushing on my sciatic. And Dr. Maroon said, look, I'm just going to go in there and make instead of your typical 6-inch incision on the back, I'm going to probably do something in the neighborhood about 3.5 inches. I'm going to go in there and sort of ream and shave away that L5 so the bone part is not pushing on your sciatic nerve. He said it's not a very difficult procedure, but it's very technical because I want to make sure that I don't touch the nerve.
Mm-hmm.
So after surgery, 3 hours later, I'm laying there, and he comes into the room and he says, I want you to get up and walk. I said, Doc, I said, that's back surgery 3 hours ago. He said, get up and walk, and your leg will let you know. I said, I stepped out of bed, and I stood there, and I went, oh, my God, my right foot's come back.
Wow.
Come back. So, and I had no more pain, that sciatic pain down the leg.
That's great.
The restless leg syndrome, to which my legs would be herky-jerky while I'm sleeping, is gone.
Oh, perfect.
So it's a complete, and what I'm happy about is I don't have to walk around like with a club foot anymore. It happened once in a while, but then the frequency picked up, so that's when I got it looked at and had it done, and, God bless Dr. Maroon for bringing my right leg back.
Heck yeah, and God bless the great modern scientific medicine situations and procedures out there that are able to do that by getting so close to nerves like that and whatever. And, here's to the babies in the brand new world, and here's to the doctors and loved ones in their care, as I've always said. So that's good. And like I said, I texted you a couple of times asking how you were doing because I know it was something that you were really wanting to get done, and I'm glad that it was a success. You did text me back and tell me you're feeling fantastic, and I'm glad we were able to get you back on the show here before the year closed out and talk about a few things. And all the people that called in today and had the comments and stuff like that about you, I know our phones were lit up like crazy as usual, and it's a good reason why when Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is on the telephone. And let's the new year kicks around. I know I'll see you at Colorful Alley Club in April, and I know that we'll obviously have you on before then too.
Oh, well. We'll hook up again before then, but I hope to see you at the Cauliflower Alley again.
Oh, I will there, and I promise this. I'm going to come with a little bit better financial situation, and as soon as I see you, without hesitation, I'm going to go get 2 Coors Lights from the bar, and one of them's going to you.
I will. Hey, I'm gonna do a friendly reminder about that, and we'll take it from there.
You got it, my man.
Yeah, hold him to it, Ricky. Hold him to it, please.
Like I said, I'm not gonna be too concerned about the dough this time.
That's the phrase when we're sitting there with a couple of beers and having a good talk. And if anybody calls you and say, "What are you doing?" That's the phrase that says, "Right now, I'm just a shanking."
Hey, that could be like a country song. I think
just
I'm just a shanking with the steamer. We were talking about my Beamer. I love
great,
it.
You got him going.
Yeah, you got me going, and I'm gonna write a song. Good stuff. Yeah, we'll be shanking. We'll have a good time, my buddy. And listen, again, thank you so much for coming on the phone. Have yourself a great weekend. Merry Christmas to you and your beautiful family, my friend. And I look forward to speaking to you here, even off the air like we do sometimes. And always the best. And it's always a pleasure having you on.
Well, Brian, thank you very much. Back at you. Christmas, New Year's. Make sure we're starting another year. And hopefully we're all around to talk about what we've been doing. Loving what we do.
There you go. Best of luck, health, and happiness to all of us. So, again, take care. Have a great holiday season. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. And, again, thanks for coming on.
Okay. We'll hook up soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat there joining us. Always a great time talking to him. It's not even like work getting stuff to get him on the phone. I ain't got to research anything. I just get him on the phone, and we just fire away. And I tell you, all the people that called in today, I'm very happy. I want to read them. Mooney called in, Kono, Alina. Let's see, Matt gave us a buzz, Timothy, Jared, Dottie. Is that Dottie? Did she call on the left? Yeah, Dottie called in, Jonas, Milton, Cheryl. I also want to say these were 3 I kind of held to the end of the show because they were talking more about Off the Top Rope Radio, and you and I, Joe, saying, does this say Brutus and Family, or does that say Braze and Family? Can you?
Brutus
and Family. Brutus and Family says they're calling from Marlene, Kentucky. They said, we love the show. Thanks for doing it so much. We appreciate it. overall, the whole family listens to it. So thank you to Brutus and his family. Jimmy from Phoenix called in and said, we love the show, regular listeners. So Jimmy, thank you as well. And this one here says, I believe the Jutes Man. Is that what it says?
It is.
Jutes Man. Okay, I read your handwriting. That's amazing. He's calling in from the Coronado Islands. He says, will we be doing a Christmas show on the 26th? No, we'll probably be doing some sort of replay because day after Christmas.
We might just have a marathon that day.
We could do
an
something.
off-the-top rope marathon.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. 12 hours of off-the-top rope.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be fine. And then Jutzman said, we love Ricky and, of course, love the show. So, you guys, thank you so much for being a part of the program because without all these phone calls and stuff like that and you knowing that us knowing that you're listening and enjoying what you're hearing, we wouldn't be doing it. We wouldn't be having as much fun. And I know Joe loves taking all the calls.
I do.
Joe loves and this is Joe's station, so he loves the fact that people are out there listening to his station and enjoying what he does. And don't forget to check out KQCKlive.com. Go on the website. Look at all the other shows that are out there. There's some really cool programs out there. Great continuous music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. There's always great music playing. You can check that out as well. There's a ton of shows. And go on to the Facebook, KQCK Radio. You can check it out on Facebook and check out mine, Off the Top Rope Radio on Facebook. You can send us emails. Mine's Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKlive.com. And Joe is JOE at KQCKlive.com as well. So we'd love to hear from you off the air. Keep in touch with us. And, if you ever write into us or send us an email, I'm going to send you something in the mail. I just sent a Lex Luger autograph card out to a buddy of mine who sent me a nice email, and boom, there you go. That's how it works. So listen, everybody, we'll be back next week here on the 19th. Be safe out there, and I hope to have a little surprise with an in-studio guest next week. Joe, you and I got to talk about that tomorrow or so. We got to get together and discuss that.
All right.
And in the meantime, I'm also going to call him and see what his schedule looks like, but it'd be great to have him on the phone. We can take live phone calls left and right.
Bam.
And just really rock it out and have a blast. I got the whole day off, so we can just party like it's 2099.
Like rock stars, huh?
Yeah, we are rock stars, Joe.
That we are.
Damn right. We're styling and profiling, vocalizing, socializing. Woo! Whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it because it's the best thing going on the radio today, Off the Top Rope Radio. So again, Josie, thank you. All the fans and callers, thank you as well. God bless you all. We'll talk to you next time and be safe, and we'll see you at the matches.